This is the Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus G, and as they put it, advanced gaming SSD that's specifically designed to work with DirectStorage. If you want to know more about DirectStorage, I have a full video I'll leave in the cards above for you, but in short, it's a way for game engines to load their assets directly to your graphics card from your storage, rather than via your CPU as well, which adds latency and bottlenecks. It's not exactly widely available yet, but it is expected to become pretty standard, so getting a drive like this that's specifically made to work with it pretty well, sounds like a great idea. But taking a peek under the actual copper label, you'll find a Phison E18 controller, 2 GB of SK Hynix DDR4 as a DRAM cache, and 8 total 256 GB chips of Micron 176-layer TLC NAND flash. The technically proficient among you might have clocked that this is rather similar to the standard Sabrent Rocket 4 Plus. In fact, as of 2022, it's actually the same all round. My older model has 96-layer Micron NAND instead, but still uses a Phison E18 controller. So what's the difference then? Well, as far as I'm aware, the only major change is a DirectStorage optimized firmware on this G variant. That means, in theory, the standard drives, and I should argue should have, or be able to get that firmware patch as well, meaning there's functionally no difference between the two models. Now, unfortunately, I can't find a way to reliably test DirectStorage myself. However, Tweaktown do have some simulated results which suggest the firmware changes make a decent difference to the sorts of operations you can expect from DirectStorage games. They show the Rocket 4 Plus gaming sitting at 7 GB per second throughout the entire duration, which is only matched by an Intel Optane drive that costs multiple thousands of pounds or dollars. Compare that to the WD-SN850X, which is not only just generally sits lower at 6 GB per second, but also has frequent dips in its performance, and it sure looks like the Rocket is a great choice. As for the benchmarks I can run, well, that's quite interesting. Now, I've been using a Ryzen 7900X and an ASRock X670E motherboard for my recent testing, and it seems like the drives that I've been testing with this setup aren't quite performing at their absolute best here, as in Crystal Diskmark, my original results for the standard Rocket 4 Plus quite handily beat out the newer gaming version. Now, it's not exactly a massive deal, as we're talking about 6.5 GB per second on this one versus 6.8 GB per second on the older one, but it is still interesting to see. What I find more interesting though is the random 4 KB block size tests. With a queue depth of 32, the gaming drive was the fastest I've tested, with almost 1 GB per second on reads and over 750 MB per second on writes, compared to 900, 700 for the next fastest, which happens to be the Silicon Power XS70, which also happens to have the same Phison E18 controller. With a queue depth of just 1, the XS70 does end up offering slightly better writes, although the gaming drive actually beats it in the arguably more important reads. In ASSD, again at the top end and with the sequential read and writes, you'll find the gaming drive in the midfield. Still crazy fast as all Gen 4x4 drives are, but not quite reaching its full potential, at least with my setup. Again, in the random 4 KB block size test though, its read performance in particular is rather strong. What's even more impressive is that in the random 4 KB block size 64 thread test, where it just offers the highest read speeds by far, and second highest write speeds too. As for ATTO, that's very much a mirror of the other results, where on the larger block sizes, it seems to struggle a little. Now, it's still fairly, high end, but I mean, on the smaller block sizes, it's one of the faster drives I've tested. It isn't quite as fast as the Solidigm P44 Pro I checked out most recently, but it's certainly not bad, especially for reads. And lastly, in my file duplication test, which stresses the controller's reads and write performance simultaneously, the Plus G offers exceptional performance. It comfortably sat at 2.2 GB per second for over 500 GB of data written. And even more impressively, even once the SLC cache was very much full, it was still sitting happily at around 1.6 GB per second, which is possibly the best result I've had here. And I should make it clear, that's just using the motherboard's built-in heatsink, which was more than enough, with the drive reporting an absolute maximum temperature of 73 degrees Celsius, which was only after writing well over a terabyte of data at full speed all in one go. You certainly can pick up the very flashy rainbow aesthetic heatsink alongside the equally shiny rainbow drive, but you really don't need to. So everything looks good then. Best to just get this new gaming variant so you can be sure that your system will work perfectly with DirectStorage then, right? Well, in theory, sure. In practice, hell no. This 2TB Rocket 4 Plus G is £100 more expensive than the standard Rocket 4 Plus 2TB drive. For the exact same hardware. Sure, the firmware differences might make some difference, but arguably that firmware version should be made available to the standard Rocket 4 Plus drives anyway, and it is in no way worth 50% more cash for literally the same drive. If it was a tenner more expensive, I could make the argument that it would, be worth splashing out on, but at 100? Definitely not. Of course, the Plus G drive is a fantastic drive, and it will still sort of remains to be seen how much of a big difference it makes in actual DirectStorage titles, and once some of those are actually properly available and more than just a single game that apparently has some bugs sometimes, I'll definitely do a follow-up to see how they compare, and I think that'll be kind of interesting. If you want to see that, make sure you are subscribed, by the way, and hit the notification bell. If you want to see more videos, there are plenty on the end cards that will pop up in a second, and if you want to pick up a Plus G drive or check out pricing when we watch this, because it can and does vary and it might be on sale by the time you actually watch this video, then do check out the top link in the description. That's a global Amazon affiliate link that will take you to your local Amazon store where you can see all that good stuff. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel, you can do so through YouTube, Patreon, pick up a hoodie or t-shirt like this one, or use some of the other affiliate links that are in the description for places like Overclock UK if you happen to be buying from there. Otherwise, that's kind of it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave those in the comments down below. I'd also love to know what you think of the Plus G drive and its value proposition and the sort of DirectStorage. In fact, DirectStorage in general, feel free to let me know in the comments. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you on the next video.